Hey, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm here,
Just
ready to rock and
ready
roll.
to talk some horror. I am jacked, man.
All right, man. So, for you guys watching, this is our latest episode, and our little tagline is "Horror Talk for the Community by the horror community." So, we got a couple of things that have been going on that we wanted to touch upon. The first thing that I thought we'd kind of get out of the way is talking about the new Kevin Williamson slasher Sick, which just came out. It was last Friday, right? Just a few days ago.
Friday 13th. Yep.
Yeah, Friday 13th. I know, ironic. Um, I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, but I've been trying to make some time to see it. I'm sure I'm probably going to see it within the next couple days, but I have heard a few comments from people that have seen it, nothing spoilery, but I mean, what have you heard or what do you think about it? Because you haven't seen it yet either.
Well, no, I tried to watch it.
Mm.
I caught the opening scene about the first 15 minutes. I've been trying to, but I've been busy as hell here lately too. I've been trying to get a lot of things rolling. But I'm
Right.
telling you, the first 10 or 15 minutes is all Kevin Williamson, man. It is
Yeah.
def it is definitely in that vein. You could tell that that's the man that created the Scream franchise, and it looks like
Nice.
it's going to be pretty good. It's even worse tease to catch that first 10 or 15 minutes and then have to shut it off. Like it hurt. You know what I mean?
I bet.
So
I bet. Well, to me, I think it's really cool. Number one, that he's doing, that he did a movie, a slasher movie at that, and
mm,
that it's getting a lot of good, got a lot of good reception from the horror community. I can think of about three or four people that have seen it, and they're all like really, really jazzed about it and really praising it. And the interesting thing too is that I don't know how you look at it. I still kinda gotta get my mindset away from the idea that when something comes to streaming, rather than the theater, that
right.
stuff like this can still be great and probably could be a great theatrical run as well. My mindset is always kinda like, "Oh, it's coming to streaming. I'll catch it when I can." But it seems like this movie is a little bit different because everyone's raving about it, man.
Well, it's set in the pandemic vein too. That's the whole thing about it. Is sick. It
Mhm.
is set during that time when 97% of the country is in
Yeah.
quarantine, and and it's everybody's wearing masks. Everybody's staying away from each other, and so he's definitely playing off that.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I heard one person, and again, it wasn't anything spoilery, but I heard one person that was really, and I know you'll appreciate this. One person was really kind of referencing it, to like Night of the Living Dead, in the sense that you're holed up in a place and there's not really a lot of places to go and so forth, and things are just happening and you got to deal with it. A group has to deal with it. And I love that type of stuff anyways, man. Like anytime a horror movie can have that type of vibe, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah, well, I guess a couple of girls get together and they go off to some resort, a really nice place. And and during the trailer, you see this one girl going, "This place is sick." You know what I mean?
Right.
So what they want to do basically is get away from all this quarantine shit, where they can go
Hmm.
have their mask off, let their hair down, and just be regular. And that's when shit hits the fan. Like I was saying, the opening scene I seen is I love how he's going basic with it. You don't got a ghost face mask. You don't got a Michael Myers mask. You got a guy basically in a hood and then just something covering his face. He's using the quarantine to his advantage. Just like a
Hmm.
lot of people did during the quarantine, a lot of robberies went on, stuff like that. He's using
Right.
that so that he doesn't stand out and look like he's wearing a mask. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, I dig it, man. I mean, like I said, we've talked a little bit about this, and it's been a conversation that's been going on quite a bit, not just on our channels, but on a lot of other channels in the horror community. Just wanting to see the fresh take, wanting to start to kind of move forward. And that's not to say that we want to
Right.
totally forget the past or, we don't love, Halloween 78 anymore or Scream or Friday the 13th. But at the end of the day, man, we need some new icons. We
Exactly.
need we need some new movies to have those conversations about and to have anniversaries to celebrate
Yeah.
and I think this is a great
Oh,
thing.
now more than ever. I mean, you know what I mean? When you got so many, when everything's a remake or everything's a sequel,
Right.
everything, you know what I mean? As much as we love them, things are starting to get kind of tired. And we
Right.
have to have that for the horror genre to survive and be as strong as it has been. We need that.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Absolutely. So hopefully I'm gonna see it. I think, like I said, I got, you know how it is. I got so much stuff going on. Hopefully I'm gonna see it. I hope by Thursday. Because there's something else I gotta watch, and that's what we're gonna talk about next. That every dude, I mean, like everybody's like raving. I gotta admit, this is a great problem to have. A lot of stuff that you gotta catch up on and watch, but
Right.
everybody is raving about the premiere of The Last of Us on HBO, and I didn't even know that it's like an hour and a half, isn't it? Like an hour and 20 minutes, the
Yeah,
premiere
it's
episode.
it's full length movie, and me
Jeez.
my son and I watched it last night, so I
Hmm.
have seen it, and it is really good. See, because
Yeah.
when we watched The Walking Dead, we watched all 11 seasons of that, got done with that. We watched
Hmm.
we throughout the summer vacation, we binge watched Game of Thrones, and I ended up
Ooh.
loving that. And then
Yeah.
House of the Dragon started, and now we're finding out, just because of the way it's made, it's going to take like another year or two for the next season to come out. So I
Right.
was grateful that this came out. He's a big fan of the video game. So while he
Hmm.
was watching it the whole time, he's telling me, "Oh, that stayed faithful to the game, or that's not like the game." You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I don't know much of shit about the game. So
Right.
it's all fresh. And I was just sitting there loving it. And Pedro Pascal is absolutely fantastic. Of course, he was on Game of Thrones briefly, and he's the
Oh yeah.
Mandalorian. And this
Hmm.
this new girl, this Bella Ramsey, even though my son says she doesn't look like the girl, she does a great
Right.
job, man.
Yeah, that was one thing too. Now, she's the same actress, if I remember correct. She was on Game of Thrones. She was one of
Yes,
the yeah, she was the little Spitfire that was really, really awesome.
she's
Um,
Queen. Yeah.
yes, yeah. So I really loved her performance in that. So when I heard she was in this, I agree because I've played the game and I really love the game. I'm not like a
Oh,
pro at the game, but I gotta admit I thought to myself, well, she doesn't really look like the character. But then again, that doesn't really
yeah.
matter because as long as she can perform and be good in the role, that's all that really matters. And she killed it in Game of Thrones. So if what she did in this is anything like what she did in Game of Thrones, I'm all in, you know.
Yeah,
But
well, at the very beginning of it, the way they explained it is, let me see, it's basically a fungus, and the way there's a guy at the very beginning, he's talking about it, and he's talking about there's a fungus, I guess for real, that will take over an ant's brain and will make it behave like it's infected, almost like a 28 days later, and it'll make
mm,
it's alive, but it doesn't feel pain. It doesn't feel the pain like that, and it's completely out of control. I guess it really goes on. And this fungus, I guess, is something like that for us, like it is for those ants. And
mm-hmm.
the first time I ever seen something happen, I see, like I said, I never played the game. I never even
Yeah,
seen it played. So I noted, I was thinking they were like zombies or, everything. It's more like the infected, and it had this weird shit coming out of its mouth. And I was like, what the hell is that? And my
right,
son's like,
right.
just watch, just relax, and all this. And I got excited, man. That hour and a half went by quick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, man, it's a great video game. And as soon as I heard that they were gonna bring it to HBO. I think at first, there were rumors anyways, I don't know if there was, solidified, but there were rumors that they were gonna do a movie, like a theatrical movie, and as soon as I had heard that, I was like, "No, man, this is too much to do in one movie." Maybe a
Yeah.
trilogy, but I guess what I'm saying is when I heard it was coming to HBO, I was thinking that's what you need to do. You need to bring it on to streaming and let it really kind of play out, through several episodes or whatever, a couple seasons, whatever. And HBO is a great place to land, man. Like you said, Game of
Yeah.
Thrones, House of the Dragon, Westworld, and so many other great shows. So I think HBO will handle it well. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to be watching it in another 2 days. I can't wait. So, but
Sometimes you're
everyone's
so
saying it's
busy that
good.
you got to schedule when you're going to watch something new, man. And I'm kind of feeling you now because I got so many projects going and everything. I'm starting to have a lot more sympathy for your schedule now. I'm starting to get it. You know what I mean? Because before I would just do something every once in a while, but now that
Right.
I've been really picking up my content, I get it, man. So I apologize if I was ever impatient.
No, hey man, it is how it is. I mean, like with a lot of people, just depending on what they choose for their workload, it can be something that's, just taking it, one thing at a time, next thing, next thing, next thing. But then you have other folks that, and especially, when you're passionate, like for instance, with this is something that obviously we both knew that we had to talk about because it's relevant and it's something that we're both interested in. And it's big horror news. So, we have to talk about it because we have a passion for it as well. But, as when you're doing, discussions and you're talking about movies or you're doing watch alongs and this and that, like you spend the time doing that. And sometimes you don't have enough time to catch up on the stuff that you need to watch for your
Right.
content, plus the stuff that you just want to watch just to watch. It really
Right.
does catch up to you. But, that's what we all go through. But I'm,
Yeah,
I'm, I'm, ha- huh?
but, yeah, man.
No, I'm just saying,
Well,
I'm
well,
just happy we got this.
well, I was just gonna say that, and sometimes I kind of find that it comes as a surprise to you. You just be watching something because it sounds interesting. Next thing you know, that becomes content. And
Right.
that's really cool. And that's
Hmm.
why, what I mean. That's why I'm glad we have the community we have, and I'm glad we have this show that we've come up with. That gives us a great way to really talk about it, really get out different feelings and communicate about it. And
Right.
I mean, and right now is and we picked such a great time to start it. Right now is a really hot time for some new horror.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, man, and we obviously talked about it in our last episode. When you think about what horror has been able to do, just in 2022 alone, I mean, it's absolutely amazing when you really break it down. All the great
Yes,
movies and new projects, and even stuff that was streaming, that was very, very good. I mean, stuff that came to streaming was very, very, um, good,
yeah,
whether it was Prey or whatever. So 2023 is shaping up really good, man. Because I mean, we've got the Last of Us, we've got Sick from Kevin Williamson, we've got Scream right around the corner, and we also have a new Brandon Cronenberg movie, which that's the other thing I wanted to touch upon too, is that his new movie, The Infinity Pool, with Mia
yeah.
Goth and Skarsgård. And, man, Mia Goth is on a freaking roll, isn't she?
Yes, she is, and she's doing something completely different in this. I think she's playing a little higher upper class, and I do believe Skarsgård. What I've got from it, kind of, he goes somewhere with his wife. They go on an outing to go away on like vacation, and
Yeah,
I think he kind of gets the thing for her, but I think she's pretty fucked up and evil, and I think she kind of drags him
yep,
into it or something like that.
yeah,
I'm really stoked about that because he's done what 2 or 3 films, and they've
yeah,
all hit good.
yep.
He's on a pace to be even bigger name than his dad if he's not careful.
Yeah, man, I mean, I think that if he can put it this way, if he can hit 2 more, if he can hit 2 more good movies, I think he's definitely, he's gonna be in the ballpark. Not saying he's gonna be better than his dad, but I mean, just recognition-wise, you can sit
So,
back and say, "Okay, Brandon Cronenberg, he is the real deal." I mean, I think he is already, but of course, part of that
yeah,
is because I've enjoyed his movies, and plus I'm a huge fan of his father. But for the general audience who aren't as well versed in his father's work or Brandon's first two movies, I think that he can definitely, like you said, he could be well on his way, man. Because his movies are they're so different and odd, just like his dad's movies, man. And you don't see
like his
that a
dad's
lot.
like his dad's body horror on steroids. You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
he took. I mean, you could tell he's his father's son,
Yeah.
but he decided to take that and say, "All right, Dad, you showed me the way. Now watch how it's really fucking done." You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
Mia
Right.
Goth's doing the same thing with the as far as a horror icon. She's already there, man. She's already got a franchise.
Yeah.
They're going to come out with the third one. You know what I mean? I haven't
Yep.
seen Pearl yet, but X was really good, and
Yeah.
there's already like a teaser trailer for the next one after Pearl.
Yeah, Maxine. Yeah, I think well, first of all, you got to watch Pearl. You got to watch
Um,
Pearl. I'm telling you. I and not that I took my time to see it, but again, just so much stuff to watch, so much stuff to watch, and I knew I'd get to it at some point. When I watched it, um, so impressed, so
But she plays the
impressed.
old woman, right? She plays the old woman. It's like a prequel. She plays the old woman
Yes.
when she's young. Okay,
Mhm.
okay,
Yes. And it's funny too because I had talked about this with some other people that had watched it too, but it's almost like you'd wanna watch Pearl first and then X, you know what I mean? Because of
absolutely.
the way that it kinda fits, but I mean, obviously watching it the way they come out is fine, but Pearl is a different movie than
Right,
X, and I mean it in the best way possible, and
right.
it's one of those movies like, put it this way, when I watched it, and I'm not trying to sound over dramatic, but it's the type of role and the type of movie where you think, Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates. You think
Right.
Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes. You think, Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal. Like they own that role, and it's
Yeah.
like it's theirs, and the movie is the weight is on their shoulders to nail it, and they do, and she did in Pearl. Like,
Oh, I love
again,
how
I
she
don't want.
played one role. How she played one role in X, and then now they went back to the prequel, and she played the young older woman,
Yep.
and then and then they um are doing a sequel to that, and then in Infinity Pool, she's doing something completely different, but still
Yeah.
like she's crazy. You know what I mean? What I
Yeah.
seen from the trailer, it's really exciting. It's creepy. That trailer is creepy as hell, man.
It is creepy, man, and again, it's the type of trailer, and of course, it's the type of material that Brandon does, but it's the type of trailer that makes you just go, "What the fuck? What's going? What am I watching here?" And I absolutely love that. I love it because, again, and this kind of dovetails into what we were just talking about with Sick and The Last of Us. It's just great to see new stuff, fresh stuff,
Yeah,
stuff that you can't figure out right off the bat, stuff that might surprise you. Sometimes it might even challenge you.
absolutely.
Like we talked about in our last episode, movies like Barbarian. There were some people
Oh, yeah.
that they were kind of like, well, I don't know, man. It was kind of odd, and it's like, well, yeah, that's the point. They're trying to push that envelope. You know what I mean? And I think obviously Infinity Pool is probably going to do that too if I was to bet.
Yeah. Well, Barbarian was my favorite horror film of last year, just like we talked about last time. And
Hmm.
I love the fact that you watch the trailer and you have no clue what the hell you're getting ready to watch until it comes on.
That's right. That's right.
Yet,
Yeah, it's
yet the trailer was convincing enough to get you in there, and then you watch it,
right.
and you go, "Oh, okay, this is what it's about." You know?
Right. Right. Yeah, I wish, it's funny because um that trailer, it really it pulled you in enough to intrigue you, but it didn't give anything away whatsoever. And so part of the magic is the way that the trailer was crafted, but also that the movie could take that hard left turn when it did and take you into a whole nother place you didn't know where you were going to end up. And I loved it, man. When
Mhm.
we were in the theater watching it, I literally heard people in the audience like saying, "What?" And gasping. And I was doing the same thing myself. I was like, "Wait a minute," you know what I mean? And man, that's just a great feeling. That's one of the best feelings for me whenever I watch any movie is when I'm taken by surprise, you know? So,
Fool's gonna be like that too because you kind of get
yeah.
an idea, but you still have not a clue. Yet you
Yeah.
still want to watch it, and
Yep.
that I
Yep.
think is a perfect trailer. I hate trailers that you watch 2 or 3 minute trailer, you already know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're
Mhm.
starting to do now on trailers what they used to do back in the day when we were younger. They didn't give the
Mhm.
whole movie away during the trailer,
Right,
and now they're
right.
giving you just enough to know you want to watch it, but to where you're gonna sit down and go, okay, let's see what we're getting ready to check out, guys.
Right. Yeah. You know what I think they should do, and this had just popped into my head, not to go on a rabbit trail, but one of the coolest teaser trailers I ever saw, and it's not a horror movie, but it's a movie we love, was Terminator 2.
Oh man,
And it was a teaser, and none of it was in the movie. Not a single frame of this teaser
right?
trailer was in the movie, but it opened up in the Cyberdyne factory, and it showed um, the exoskeletons on a conveyor belt or whatever,
Yep,
and
being
and they
creative.
and they showed him being created. They showed Arnold, and all they did was you saw the the exoskeleton skull and the red light
Yep.
come on in the eye, and then they showed this thing closing together, and on the computer it said tissue regeneration, and then it opens up, and then you see Arnold, you see his big arms, and then it pans up and his eyes are closed, and all he does is open his eyes and they're red, and then it goes to black. Terminator
Yeah.
2 Judgment Day. Man, when I saw that,
Oh,
I
my
was
ass was at the
so
theater.
hyped.
The first weekend, my ass was at that theater,
Yes,
and
yes.
expecting him to be the antagonist again.
Right,
And when I seen he was going to be the protagonist and see what the antagonist was, I was
right.
excited as hell, man. That's
Yeah,
still one of my favorite theater experiences. It's still one
y
of my favorite films.
yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
never get tired of that movie.
can you imagine if they did that movie today, or within the last several years? They would have given away the fact that he was good, you know?
They would
And
have
that
showed him
was
cutting his jokes and talking about he'll live. You know what I mean? They would have
yes,
showed all that. It would on. It would have went
yes,
on for 5 minutes. And I'm
yes.
so glad that they didn't, because I went there thinking he was going to be the, like I said, the antagonist again, and
Right,
to see him being
right.
the protagonist and the antagonist being even bigger badass than him was
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was one of the best surprises I had ever had in a big time movie like that. And I wish the point I was going to make with it was I wish that movies today would kind of,
Mhm.
take that approach, just do a little whatever 45-second teaser, and just, have some characters just
Tease,
talking, or what, it doesn't even have to be a frame in the
tease
movie.
us,
Tease
tease
us.
us.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
These now, you know what I mean? Even a teaser gives off the plot now.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
pay attention to that word, tease.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
They
absolutely,
just
man.
tried so hard to get people in there that they want to show you how great it's going to be to the point to where they give it away. And
Right.
it's one of those things. It's one of those things with trailers is less is more. You know what I mean? It's a two says.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's true.
It's true, man. It's true because again, some of the best, biggest movies of all time had teasers, like true
Mhm.
teasers. I mean, we even Friday 13th 6, Jason Lives. Now, I'll never forget that one. Obviously, in
Mhm.
5, it was Roy, and we were all ticked off in a way. But so the teaser for 6 comes out, and all it is a rainy thundering and lightning area, and it pans down to his gravestone, and
Right.
and that was it, and it said coming this summer. That's all it
Yeah.
was. You heard the breathing,
Mhm.
you heard that, and that was it. It didn't show you anything, but it got you so hyped up, or at least for me, it got me so
Oh
hyped
yeah.
up because I was like, oh my god, he's really coming back. That is,
Or is he? You know what I mean?
what.
Or is he? And then
Right,
you and your friends are bumping each other and word of mouth
right,
going, oh, are they going to be somebody else again? Or is he really? You know what I mean? You don't know till you get there. That's what
right.
it's supposed to be. You don't know
That's
shit till you get your ass in the theater.
that's right. That's right. So, I mean, I think it would be so cool if movies would kind of go
Mhm.
back to that, man. I mean, but
Yes.
we're just, I mean, and it's funny too because we're a part of that machine as well, because we talk about the movies before they come out, but still, I don't personally, as a fan or as a YouTuber, I don't want to be spoiled, and I try not to spoil, people that watch,
Right.
content, because I want them to be surprised when they go and see that Arnold is actually the hero. I want them to be surprised in Barbarian when the stuff, changes and stuff like that. So anyways, it's just, yeah, I don't know, man. But
Feels are part of the
anyways,
magic. The reveal of the film, no matter what it may be, is the magic of it.
it
You know what I
is
mean?
absolutely.
Think, think if we'd have seen The Sixth Sense or oh man,
Yes.
just anything and already knew what was going to, you know what I mean? Or
Hmm.
oh shit, the one with Nicole Kidman, the others,
The
and
others.
and we would have already gotten an idea that that was going to be some big turn or some big reveal. It would
Yep.
kill the whole thing, you know.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely, man.
Leave us
Absolutely.
wondering. We want you. We want you to leave us wondering.
Yep.
I don't care what
Yep.
anybody says. Don't listen to them. That's not what they really want. They don't know what they want. We're telling
Yep.
you what they want.
Exactly,
So
man. Exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy. But speaking of also just wanting to be surprised and hyped and so forth, we gotta talk about Insidious.
Oh,
Um, Insidious 5 is coming out. They wrapped up filming, I believe it was in August. Um, and so Patrick Wilson's gonna be directing it and obviously starring in it. Um, First of all, I just wanna say, the first Insidious especially
yes.
was such a good it still is such a good movie, a fun movie. I absolutely love, Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne. It would and also Lynn Shay, of course, so, as they call her the godmother of horror. Um,
Yeah.
but I absolutely love, that movie, and of course, the sequels were pretty good too, and so now we're going to 5, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if you know, I think it's going to take place after the events of 1 and 2,
Yes.
I think.
10 years later, and Dalton is going to college. It takes place where well, first off, have you seen the official trailer yet?
Yes.
It is out and it is badass, and it's
Mhm.
still a mystery whether Lynn Chase is going to be in it or not. It's being written by Lee Wannall and Scott Teems, who wrote the script for Halloween Kills, which is my
Right.
favorite of the new trilogy.
Mhm.
Um, and it looks really good. It takes place 10 years after he's taken him to a college on the East Coast,
Mhm.
and something happens. There's some funeral where somebody dies. We're not sure yet who it is that dies.
Mhm.
Um, I'm thinking it was that friend of Elise's, but something happens to where it's lifted off to where remember because he made it to where they would forget that they could
Yes.
astro.
Mhm.
Well, somehow they lose that, and he's able to astro again while he's in college, and that's when these demons come back. The red faced demon comes back, and the Parker Crane demon comes back.
Yeah. Well, that
So, and
hey,
it looks badass.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm pretty excited for it, man, because I think that again, it's one of those things where it's a movie that was so well done. It's a franchise that's been really well done. Obviously, James Wan, his signature is all over it. And I'm just a big fan of these types of movies because it really takes me back to the old
Yes,
school horror where you
yes,
have a story, you have characters, the characters get development, you follow them through whatever's happening in the movie, and you get invested in them. So when things happen, it hits you. You're
right.
really involved in what's going to go on. And especially in the first movie, I was so invested in this family because they really spent a lot of time to make you really get to know this family,
Yeah,
and yeah.
and then the second one they go with Heather, well, not Heather Donahue, but you see Jocelyn Donahue, where she plays the young mother of
Yes.
Josh, Patrick Wilson character. They even go back to the beginning of that and show how they made him forget how to astroplane and
Right.
show his early connection to it. So it's on him his whole life. Now 10 years later, the way they're making it sound like it's coming back with a vengeance
Right.
directly
Right.
at Dalton because that's who they wanted to begin with when they couldn't get Josh.
Right.
So
Yeah.
and so it just makes sense to me that it must be him that dies. You know what I mean? And they're gonna have somebody else is gonna have to come along. Like I say, it's still a mystery whether Lynn Shane's even gonna be in it or not. We don't even know if the Elise
Right.
character. I'm hoping. I'm hoping they don't make the mistake. But Patrick Wilson, Lee Wannall, and teams they're all put their head together to try to put it back and get that magic back to the first two. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And supposedly, at least from what I understand, it's supposed to be coming in July. I think it was
July
early
7th.
July. July 7th. Okay, yeah. Um And, I also like the title of it too. It's Insidious Fear the Dark. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They play with the dark realm, and then the tagline is kind of like "Fear the Dark." Now, I heard a couple of YouTubers talk about how they didn't like that; it didn't really catch them. But what
Okay.
is more horror than Fear the Dark? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
way I think about it. I totally disagree with them. That's how I feel about it. What's more horror than Fear the Dark? That
yeah.
is horror written all over it.
It's funny too, just when you just said that, it made me think, and I know I've dealt with this myself as a horror fan, but, you know, it's interesting, and maybe it's a little sad that society in general, we've kind of gotten desensitized in
Right.
movies, and of course we're from an older time where we could watch something like Psycho and totally understand the horror in it, and a
Yes.
young person watching it, they don't get it, they might say, "Well, what's so scary about this? He's just crazy." But, you know, when we have movies like Insidious or The Conjuring or even things like Barbarian or whatever, it to me, I like it because it kind of slows it down just a little bit. I'm not saying that it has to be quote unquote a slow burn, although I don't mind slow burns, but
Right.
I but just slow it down a little bit. Let me get to know the character. Let me
Yeah.
see if this character is even worth my time. And
Yeah.
then when stuff has to happen, you can do it. I don't need 25 jump scares in the movie. Make them execute them well, and Insidious is the type
Oh,
of franchise, especially those first two, like you said, it did a really good job of that.
man, one of the scariest parts of the original Insidious, it wasn't a jump scare. They didn't rely on jump scares. It slowly moved into it. One of the scariest parts of that is when she realizes that the red faced demon is up in the corner and she's talking about it and she's describing and she's talking about
Yeah.
slowly talking about it. And
Yeah.
that is the scary. That makes the hair stand right up because she's describing him and she's talking
Hmm.
about him. And you can see they're just all getting terrified. That's not a jump
Right.
scare. That is
Right.
a slow description. The more she talks about it, the scarier
Hmm.
it gets.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I
No, I
mean?
agree.
And,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it flashes and shows him there, and it's like, whoa. And that's
Yeah.
not relying on a jump scare at all. That is a
Yeah.
true, well made horror.
Yeah. And they utilize shadow really well.
Mhm.
And I really appreciated that. And so again, kind of going back to that whole idea of fear the dark. Man, look, I'm gonna tell you what, even as a grown up, sometimes when I'm in an area that I don't know well and it's really, really dark, you get a
Yeah.
little a little a little jumpy a little bit, and it's like I said,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just funny how, horror has gotten to the point where we get a little desensitized, but fortunately we've got people like James Wan, we've got
Right.
people like Kevin Williamson still doing stuff, and other filmmakers that are kind of pulling back a little bit. Take your
Yeah.
time a little bit. We don't need to, don't get me wrong,
Doesn't
and
have to.
yeah, and we talked about Terrifier too, but I don't need 100 gallons of blood, for every victim that's getting killed. You know what I mean? I
It's
mean,
a
it's
well executed thing that makes your imagination go. Like, I don't know
yeah.
about you, but I'm such a believer in old school and real terror and real horror. Sometimes late at night, if I'm leaving a room and the room is dark and I shut
Mhm,
off the light and like, see, I got to go down a long hallway afterwards, I'm
mhm.
kind of curious and I'm kind of weary of the darkness behind me as I'm leaving. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all this little kid shit, but I am,
Mhm.
I'm back, and I kind of feel weird. I just left it because now it's totally dark and I can't see it. It's what you
Right.
can't see, man, that is terrifying. That's real
Yep.
horror. That's believing. That's having passion for the horror.
Yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely. It's just those little things that is real, and it's just like I think someone was saying, they weren't talking necessarily about sick, but I think just slashers in general, when you're getting chased by the killer, that's just in a human instinct to have fear. If
Yeah,
someone is coming after you to kill you, I mean,
right.
obviously we know what that's like. Even as kids, we played hide and go seek and tag and all that type of stuff. And when you're the one getting chased,
Yeah,
you get a little amped up. So anyways, the point I'm making, I'm going all over the place with it, but I just think it's cool that we can still talk about those real life instinctive fears, that
yeah,
that are still there, just like they were when we were kids, just like they were in the 60s and the 30s and whenever, and horror can still tap into those things. And it's good to see some movies and some filmmakers that are still doing that, because it's real horror to me.
yeah. And that's the way that I delve into it. Like when I do, I don't know. I mean, I know you've seen and heard a lot of
Hmm.
my watch along slash commentary slash discussions.
Hmm.
But when I do that, I try to put myself, I think I do a pretty good job of it, pretty decent anyway, of I come from a character standpoint. I don't talk about
Right.
how I'm me. I don't talk about how I'm the filmmaker. I
Yeah.
discuss it, and the way I go at it is I talk as if those characters are real and it's really going on. I try to get in their
Right.
head, what they're thinking, how they're feeling. So it reminded me of
Mhm.
that when you were talking about the slasher chasing you. I actually put
Mhm.
myself in that person's place and thinking. I even jump back to the slasher and try to put myself
Yeah.
in that character's place too. Like for
Mhm.
instance, good point. I'll do this real quick. Um, at the end, toward the end of Halloween, when he's
Mhm.
chasing her and he chases her to the kitchen and she busts the window out, in the door with her hand and pushes the brake out of the way, and she takes
Mhm.
off around there. And you know how long you notice how long it takes him to come around there. She goes to houses and yells, and
Right.
you don't see him come from behind that house until
Mhm.
she's back over at the Doyle house. That's when you
Right.
see him coming. So it's almost as if, from a character standpoint, what took him so long to come out there? He was
Mhm.
standing back there watching and waiting, and when he seen nobody was coming out to help, and she was going back to the dollhouse, that's when he came out and decided to
Mhm.
terrorize, because that
Right.
that was his joy in it. That's why it took him so long. You know what I mean? And
Mhm. Yep.
like that amount of time there, he could have made a sandwich in that amount of time, but no, he was standing back in the
Right.
darkness, waiting and watching. That's why he went around on her ass, because he seen her going up the houses and knocking. When he seen
Right.
nobody was
Right.
coming to help, that's when he came out. That's what I mean
Yeah.
by coming from a character standpoint.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, of course, in Halloween specifically, we know that's what Michael did because he did that earlier in the movie. He would kind of peek around the corner and look, and then kind of go back in the shadows or whatever because he was waiting. It was
Bang.
almost like you said, terrorizing Laurie Strode and the girls. So yeah, absolutely, man.
He set up that whole scenario of Annie getting the car. He set that whole thing up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Keys
Hmm.
and the whole bit, because he was sitting there watching her and listening the whole time that she was talking to Paul and she was planning on what she was going to do. So he set that
Hmm.
whole scenario up to where she'd have to go back in and get the keys and everything.
That's
I could
right.
go into detail with it, but it'd take me a few minutes. But you see what I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And by the way, Annie's death was that one really hit me in the movie because I was I was really a fan of Annie in that movie, man.
He had a special fondness for her. He had I don't want to say a sexual feeling to her, but
Mm,
it was a special attraction to her.
mm.
Lori, he felt like she reminded him of his sister,
Yeah,
of
Judith,
Judith.
yeah.
Annie, she struck a different type of feeling within him, a feeling he had never
Mhm,
had before. That's why he watches her all night. You know,
mhm, mhm,
he's most excited about her. He carries her around with him and everything. You know what I mean? He even puts a
mhm.
tombstone with her. She was special
Yeah,
to him, Annie was. And if,
that's
if,
right.
if you read the novel and you really delve into it, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Because
that's a good
we're
point
going to
too
begin
because
Halloween 78, man. I'm getting ready to create my own Halloween universe here
mhm,
really
mhm,
soon. I just keep going over it because I want it to be perfect. So
mhm.
I will delve into a lot of places.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff, man. I mean, it's a classic, so but, but yeah, man, like I said, Insidious 5, I'm really excited for it. I think it's gonna be a good movie. I think that it looks like they're trying to get back to their roots of what was, the parameters and the format of the earlier movies, the first two movies. And like I said,
This
I'm
is
really
first
excited for it.
directing. This is his first directing.
Yes.
He's so excited about it. He decided to even take on the directing himself. So for the first time ever, he's going to be directing. So we'll
Hmm.
definitely see where that goes. He's such a
Yeah,
talented guy, man. I have no doubt
he is.
whatsoever. He'll do a good job, especially with
Yeah.
the writing of Scott Teams and Lee Wan all behind him. James Wan's
Yeah.
even stepping back in to do some producing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, and James Wan himself is really excited and really believing in Patrick's, capabilities to handle the directing of the movie. And, I mean, at this point, like you said, Patrick is very, very talented. We know that he's amazing in front of the camera. He's one of those actors. Um, he just commands a certain he has a presence about him. He commands those roles that he plays. And, when you spend time around great filmmakers like Lee Winnell and like James Wan and so forth, and I'm not trying to sound funny about it, but I think, that does rub off on you because you get to see, the craft.
yeah, yeah, it's the same thing that Keith Gordon did when he worked for John Carpenter and Christine.
Mhm. Yep.
Watching Carpenter work made him want to be a director, and he stopped acting and became a director, and it's been damn good for years now.
Mhm.
Keep
Yeah.
has. So it's the
Good
same
point.
thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood did that,
Yeah.
but spaghetti western days,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
from with Sergio Leone, it's just so
Yep. It's true. It's true, man. But yeah, man, that's pretty much about it that I had. Just a lot of exciting things coming up and some stuff that we both got to do some catching up on. Me a little bit more so cuz I got to watch that whole episode of Last of Us, but I'm so excited to check it out. And
it's good.
and we got
Feel like
and we got ton yeah. Well, yeah, that's I like I said, man, I'm a fan of the game and I haven't heard anything specific, but I've just heard that it's good. This premiere episode is good, and I heard that it was doing the game justice. So to me, that's all I need to know. you know,
oh yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm a Pedro Pascal fan anyway. So
Oh
um,
yeah.
yeah, so I'm really
I
excited.
hated
But
when his character got killed off in Game of Thrones. I thought he got killed off way too fucking quick. That is crushed me
yeah,
something, man. The mountain, I was like, no. Because he had to
yeah,
be, but
man.
he had to be cocky. He had to
Yep,
get down like, tell everybody that you killed my sister, blah, 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 and
yeah,
my nephew and all this. I was going, no, dude, that's the mountain. Stop fucking around.
right. Yeah,
And
I
the
know,
Jesus
man.
Christ. I was like, oh,
that was that was one of those moments, man. I couldn't believe it. It's like, damn, they killed him.
yeah, it sucked. Game of Thrones was good at that.
Yeah.
And it looks like House of Dragons is going to be just like I hate to think we're going to have to
Mhm.
wait a couple of years for that next season.
Yeah, I
But
think so
we did a
too.
lot of talk about Ty West today, and I want to talk about one of the movies that really gave him his boost. He had done a couple things before, but this is the one that put him on the map. House of the Devil. That is my recommendation of Ty West, House of the Devil. AJ
Yeah, that's a good
Bowen's
one.
in it. Yeah. Oh man. And people don't talk about AJ Bowen very much, but he's been in a lot of Ty West and a lot of Adam Wingard movies, and he is absolutely awesome. Remember, he's the
Yeah.
boyfriend at the end of Your Next going, well, I didn't
Yep.
realize I was dating Rambo.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, House of the
Great
Devil
movie.
was a good one. Yeah. I
Yeah, it
actually
was.
just watched I just rewatched that like maybe about 3 months ago. I mean, I've seen it a bunch of times and have it physical too, but I just rewatched it about 2 or 3 months ago. Yeah, probably
Good.
because I was in, watching X and Pearl and stuff like that, and I just wanted to revisit some more Ty West.
Man, you feel like you actually buy that it takes place in the late 70s, early 80s. Like
Yeah,
everything
you
about
do.
it is done so perfectly. All the way
Yeah.
down to clothes, all the way down to the hairstyle,
Mhm.
of Jocelyn Donahue. It's perfect, man.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you do buy into it. It's really well done, man. It's really well done. You know what? It, we did this movie on SMC called oh god, The Sleeper. Have you ever seen
Yes,
that?
yes.
I had never seen that until we, prepped it for
I
the
say about a year
episode.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really well done too, and it really felt like it was back in the early eight. It was an homage to the old school slasher flicks, and it did a hell of a job for a low budget movie.
Cinematography, the set coordinator, set decorator, and you know what I mean. If you got
Yep.
people really, really, really focused in on that,
Yeah,
you
they
can
did
go
their
to a
homework.
whole other time and a whole other place.
That's right.
You can go to a
They,
whole
they
and be believable.
yeah, they did their homework on that. Yep. It's
So yeah,
crazy stuff, man.
that is a badass show, yeah, and it takes you back just like House of the Devil. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I
my
love that.
recommendation. Anybody hasn't seen it, what are you waiting for? Check it out.
Yep. It's a good
Especially
one.
if you love Ty West. He's so hot
Hmm.
these days. People are loving on him, so you got to see this.
Absolutely. I agree, man. Cool. Well, that's pretty much all that I got, man. I mean, I think we covered
Episode
covered
is
some good stuff.
awesome. We went
Yeah,
past our half hour and everything. Shit,
yeah,
let's just drop the whole 45 fucking minutes, man, because this has been a damn good one, man. We covered some shit, everything
yeah.
involved.
We went through some good stuff and a lot of stuff. Like I said, it's a lot of stuff that is really it's relevant right now and it's just starting. Like with The Last of Us, this is just the beginning of it. I mean, if this thing turns out to be, a big hit like a Game of Thrones or Westworld or House of the Dragon or whatever, it's gonna be some great discussions to have for it, man.
Man, I mean, geez, we got those, and and we spent a couple weeks talking about the Evil Dead Rise. We got the new
Mhm.
Exorcist. I mean, the new Scream. It's just we're loaded, man. We got material to talk about on this show and to enjoy with the horror community for at least the
Yeah.
next year with these things coming out. So
Oh, easily.
it's gonna be a badass. I don't know if we can keep up with it, but fuck it, we'll try.
Well, it's a good problem to have, that's for sure, especially
Yes.
considering how things were, like during the pandemic
Um,
when everything was shut down. Those were rough times. So, but anyways, all right, man. Well, we'll get ready to end up here. For you guys that are watching, we appreciate it. Definitely let us know in the comments, what you think of all the stuff we talked about with The Last of Us and Sick, and let us know if you've seen these things and what you think. Don't forget to hit the like. It really will help out, and we'd appreciate it. Go check out Gorephobes' channel. I'll have the link in the description and so forth. And yeah, I'm the Night Watch Zone, and I'll let you do yours.
I am agoraphobe, and don't forget, man, you are not.
There you go. All right, peace out.